Boy, am I glad that January is over. January has been rough. We didn't start it on a marathon. It wasn't even a sprint. I don't know what has been going on with January, but we survived. Now we just have to survive February. 1 month at a time. Let's take it 1 month at a time. In the month of January, I ended up reading a good amount of books. I think I have like 15 books here. I know this looks like a big old stack of books, and it's only because I have it on a table. It's really not that many. I didn't read a lot in January, or what the amount I usually read, I should say, because my anxiety has been at a 10, and I've just been listening to a lot of music to kind of dissociate. My favorite song right now is Honeycomb, and I literally wake up listening to the song. I go to sleep listening to it. This entire album is my current obsession, and I just have it on repeat until I get sick of it, which will probably be never. I did also start watching Criminal Minds from the very beginning, and I loved it. I do want to watch the Criminal Minds Revolution, but I know that Spencer Agent Reed is not in it, so I'm a little salty about that. There's another character that's not in it, so I wanted to start from the very beginning and then work my way to the Revolution, because I figured, why not? What are you currently watching? Any movies? Any shows? What are your comfort shows? Tell me. I need to watch something new. I feel like I haven't watched a new show or movie in a very long time because I don't look for them. So if you have any that are your favorites, or maybe that you just rewatch them for comfort sometimes, let me know so I can watch them too and I can love them too. I will shut up and start talking about books now. I read The Christmas Blanket by Candy Steiner, and I ended up giving this a 3-star rating. This book follows Alyssa, who left her small town because she felt like it was suffocating her, and she decides to return for Christmas to surprise her family. The surprise was on Alyssa when she ran into the reason why she left on her first day back, and the reason was her ex-husband. They also get snowed in. It was short, sweet, and straight to the point. I feel like the reason I didn't love it as much as I thought I was going to is because with Candy Steiner, I love how angsty her books are, and she really puts your emotions through the ringer. And with that book, we just didn't have enough pages for her to do that, but I did love it. I wouldn't say love it. I did like it. Love it. Whoa, crazy talk. The Neighbor Favor, I ended up giving this a 4.5-star rating. So this book follows Lily, and she works at a publishing house, but she's really unhappy with her job. So one day she ends up emailing her favorite author kind of as a joke and doesn't expect for him to respond back, but he does respond back to her, and they form this connection until he randomly disappears off the face of the earth and she never hears from him again. I really love the characters and the storyline for this book. I thought it was paced very well, and this is a book that I would definitely recommend. The 7-Year Slip gets a perfect rating for me. This is a 5-star read. This book follows Clementine, and she is dealing with the loss of her aunt. Now, her aunt left her apartment, and Clementine was always told growing up that it was a magical apartment, but she didn't believe it until she moved into the apartment, and it traveled back in time 7 years. When she traveled back in time, she ended up meeting another person who was living at the exact same apartment at a different time, and that was Ivan, haven't quite figured out how to say his name yet. The two form a connection because they both live in this traveling apartment, and the apartment brings them together when they both need a companion. I absolutely love this story. I devoured it. I would definitely recommend it, and I think the hype surrounding it is so worth it. Like, it's real. This book deserves all the praise in the world, and then some. The Empress is gonna get a 4-star rating for me. So this book mixes tarot card readings and the Regency era in a very unique way. This book follows Hannah, and after she pulls a tarot card, she finds herself traveling to a fantasy world by the name of Towerfall, and there she has to solve a mystery. This book had a lot of moving pieces. I really didn't know where it was going half of the time, but I was holding on to my seat with both hands. If you're a lover of books with dragons or dragon shifters, then you need to read A Fire in the Sky. I gave this 5 stars. I'm really salty that it is an unfinished series, but don't let that deter you from reading it. Please read it so we can both be in agony together as we wait for the next book. I promise the pain is worth it. This book follows Tamsy, and she's a young woman that is forced into a marriage with Fel, and he is a mighty warrior from the north. Tamsy is used as a political pawn, and slowly but surely she begins to realize how people just love to use her for their own gain. This book had me so frustrated at parts, and I was angry on her behalf because of the things that happen. It is slightly kind of dark, but not really, sort of, kind of. it's kind of dark. But I loved the romantasy aspect of it. I loved the plot twist of how the dragons were incorporated into the story. And I cannot wait for the next book in this series. It won't be out for a while, so I'm gonna cry after I finish filming this video. Blood Over Bright Haven, I gave a 4.5 star to this book. This will alter your brain chemistry. There is before and after you read this book because you will not be the same. I'm also afraid I am now addicted to Emma Wong's style of writing. I also want to read The Sword of Kagan. I have that already downloaded into my Kindle and I will be reading that in February. This book follows Siona and she's a very smart woman, so she has made it her life mission to become the first female high mage at the University of Magic and Industry. When she gains access into the university and she begins to learn all of the secrets surrounding the magic that powers their community, your mind will be blown. Her mind was blown. My mind was blown. I didn't know what I was reading. I said, there's no way. There's no way. I can see why a lot of people said this was a very dark book. There's a lot of misogyny in this book. It's gonna make you very frustrated if you're a woman, but it's a very important read, especially with everything that's going on in today's day and age. I just thought that this was very well written, very well done, and I'm definitely going to be reading more books by this author. I also read the book Fight by Sloane St. James, and this is the first book in the series. It does follow Scotty, who is an EMT that left her mysterious past to start over in the new town of Skyridge. When she gets there, she gets the attention of the fire captain, and he makes her new life a little chaotic. I wanted to slap this man half of the time, but I did like him at the end, so it was a journey. I will be finishing the series, but I kind of have no motivation to read book 2. I know this is a trilogy that each book is written by a different author, so I'm really excited for that. I don't really think I liked the style of writing of the author that wrote the first book, so I'm hoping that I feel differently for book 2 and book 3. You know, it would be really embarrassing if I'm saying all of this and it was the same author. Let me go do some research. How will I do that instead of talking shit? But I'm so good at it. Book 2 is Protect Me, and that was written by Paisley Hope, and then book 3 is Honor, and that was written by Danielle Baker. Everybody's favorite book is Honor, and I cannot wait. Your Honor, I volunteer as tribute because these covers are drool worthy. Are you seeing them? This is so off topic, but also Bourbon and Secrets, and what was the other one? The same artist that drew the covers for Fight, Protect, and Honor did the covers for the Bourbon Boys, and they look so good. I want these. So book 1 is Bourbon and Lies, book 2 is Bourbon and Secrets. These covers are stunning. I'm obsessed with them and I want them so bad. I did start reading book 1, but I kind of got sidetracked and soft DNF'd it. It was not bad at all. I just think I wasn't in the mood for it at the time, but I will go back and finish it. I got really sidetracked there. So the next book that I read was Sanctuary of the Shadow, and I want to burn this book. I lost brain cells reading this book. I want to know if it went through an editor and how many times it went through an editor. This is no shade at the author whatsoever. I have never read a more frustrating female lead in my life. I hated this story. I hate this book so much. This book follows Haru, and Haru is a seer. She is hiding her magical abilities of being a water elemental because she works for a circus. And she is trying to hide in the circus because there's other magical creatures in the circus, and she is hiding there from the people that slaughtered her entire clan, and she is the last living person of her race. I'm getting angry just thinking about the storyline because that was the entire premise of this book. And halfway through the book, we forgot what the book was about. Like, the love interest, I don't want to give any spoilers, but when we found out, and granted, the whole reveal, you knew that was happening in chapter 2. And I hate books that do that. I don't want to know the big reveal in chapter 2. I want to be surprised. Like, oh my god, I didn't see that coming. Everybody and their mama could have seen that ending coming. I'm gonna move on to the next book because I will just keep going on and on about how much I hated that book. I hated it a lot. A book that I loved, on the other hand, was Unbroken Bonds by J. Bree. I ended up giving this a perfect rating, infinity stars, and this is the last book in the series, but I will tell you, I actually started this series 2 years ago. This is how badly I am at not finishing series, but I'm changing for 2025. I'm trying to be a better person. So I decided to finally finish this because I got my hands on the special edition Bookish Box series, and the whole reason I didn't want to finish it was because I didn't want closure. I wanted to get my hands on that set, and when I found out that that set had sold out, I had just finished book 5. So I literally put this book off until I got my hands on it because I was like, no, I don't need closure until I get my hands on it. And lo and behold, it happened. Yay! If you have not read the Broken Bonds That Tie series, please do it. This is my holy grail. I tell everybody and their mama to please read this book, and nobody has ever come back to me and told me they hated this series because there's no way you could hate it. This book follows Oleander, and Oleander tragically loses her mom and her mom's bonded group in a tragic accident, so her entire family is wiped out, and she decides to run away from her own bonded group instead of losing them because she can't deal with losing more important people in her life. These are my babies. And the thing is, I read the first book, well, the entire series 2 years ago, and then I recently picked this up to finish it. And when I tell you, I did not forget anything. Maybe it's because it's been 2 years. If you gave me a book that was longer than that, yeah. No, like there's something going on with the Divergent series, and people are saying like it had a different ending than it did, and I'm over here wondering, do I need to go back and reread this because I don't remember the ending that everybody's saying was the ending. But then somebody said that there was a novella, which is the 4 book that Veronica Roth released, and I refuse to read that one because everybody's upset with that book. I'm not doing it. No. But that was a book where everybody's making me question that do I actually remember what I read, because I read that 10 years ago. This is showing my age. Anyways, I remember this series. I felt like I was going back home being with these characters and in this world, and I just absolutely love it so much. I will probably stop recommending it when I die. Yeah, when I'm 6 feet under, and then maybe then I will still be talking to God about it. I'll be like, hey God, you remember that book that one person wrote? Phantom of the Opera, I ended up giving this book a 3-star rating, and maybe it's because I haven't really been in a dark romance mood lately, and this is definitely a dark romance, so maybe I'm the problem. This story was not bad. It was a little dull. I really wasn't entertained as much as I had hoped to be. And this book is kind of just a retelling of the Phantom of the Opera. Now, the one intriguing thing about this is that the female lead has a bipolar disorder, and the male lead is obsessed with making sure that she is taken care of and doesn't get taken advantage because people want to take advantage of her because she has a bipolar disorder. So that was the most intriguing thing that I found about this entire story, and that is why I gave it a 3. But I think if maybe I read it in a time that I was into dark romance, I might have enjoyed it a little bit more. I also read Gifted to His Dad, and you are not seeing me do this book review. I did not give this book a 3-star. I did not enjoy this book. I enjoyed this book a little too much. So this book is a cozy holiday novella. Should I call this cozy? Spicy is more like it. Taboo, forbidden, you probably shouldn't do that but you're gonna do it anyway, are more along the lines of what this book is. So this book follows Eve, Cole, and Griffin. Eve and Cole are dating, and Cole decides to invite Eve home with him to his stepfather's cabin for the holidays. And the title tells you exactly what this book is about. So I will say no more. If you're intrigued, it's on Kindle Unlimited. I'm a little conflicted about my rating on The Stars Are Dying because I initially gave this book a 4-star, but I'm thinking I might give it a 3.5 and round it down. This book follows Astria, so if you like vampires, this is definitely the book for you. And Astria is someone that has very fragmented memories, so she is also being held prisoner against her will, and she decides to escape. When she escapes, a lot of things end up going wrong, and she finds herself in the wrong place at the wrong time. From there, the waters just get really muddy, and I can't really tell you what happens because I'm still trying to decipher what actually happened and how we got to the conclusion that we did. It's a very strange book. I don't know if I will finish it, to be very honest with you. I don't really have any motivation to finish this series. Maybe down the road in a few years, once it's a finished series, I will give it a go, but right now, nah. I'm okay. I'm currently working my way through the Sacred Stones trilogy, and I am loving them. If you're somebody that is into dragon books, or books with dragon romance I should say, or dragon shifters, this will be perfect for you. So I did read book 1 and book 2, and I gave book 1 a 5-star, book 2 I gave a 4-star, but that ending was insane, and I am currently working my way through book 3. This series follows Arwen, and she is someone that has healing abilities. She is taken prisoner by the Onyx Kingdom, who has been at war with her own kingdom, and they take her prisoner because her brother ended up stealing from the kingdom. When she's taken prisoner, she has to make a deal with the Onyx King to be their healer and try to keep herself alive, but the Onyx King is a very cruel and powerful man. I am living for the enemies to lovers trope in this book. I think it's very well done. I like how every single time you think you have something figured out, there's another puzzle piece that is then added to the puzzle, and you're like, whoa, I see the bigger picture now, and I thought I had the whole picture, but nah fam, it's a different picture than the picture that you thought you were seeing. All that to say, go read this series. It's really, really good. I did borrow this from my local library, so I know it's not on Kindle Unlimited, but if you use the Hoopla or Libby app, please, please, please look it up on there. I'm telling you, it is more than likely on there. I have been listening to this on my Libby app, listening and reading, because my library does have multiple copies of this book, and if you don't use your local library, please utilize your local library a little bit more. I truly was vibing with this book until I read the last 25% of it, and then I said, who wrote this? And how did I get roped into reading this? A Crown of Ivy and Glass gets a 3-star rating for me just because of that ending. I absolutely detested it, but I do have book 2, so I will be finishing this series. I feel like it's gonna be a trilogy. It is gonna be a trilogy, and book 2 was just released like 2 months ago. Why do I do this to myself? This is why I don't finish a lot of series, because a lot of them are like unfinished series, and then by the time it's finished, I'm still reading them. Ay, 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 que maldita vaina. This book follows Lady Gemma, and it does take place in the Regency era, because we do have kings and queens and carriages and ball gowns and all that good stuff. So Lady Gemma was born to a family that is very powerful, and they're able to use magic, but Gemma is the only one in their family that can't use magic, and when someone uses magic around her, she becomes physically ill. So this book just takes you through the journey as you try to figure out, why does magic make Gemma ill? And there's other things happening that she is also trying to solve the mystery of. So there's a lot going on. It's really entertaining. It's really thick. I did the audiobook for this, and it took me like 5 days just to read the audiobook. This is dedicated. I would say this book was longer than this book, and this is The Priory of the Orange Tree. This book gets a 4-star rating for me. I do feel very happy that I finally got it done. It's not just sitting on my shelf. It's literally been sitting on my shelf for 2 years, and it really wasn't that bad, which is surprising that this book is smaller than this book, and one took me a lot longer than the other one to read. Now, this is a high fantasy book with dragons, and the entire story reminded me a lot of Game of Thrones. So you have multiple kingdoms all trying to come up with a solution to keep an evil enemy from being resurrected, because if he is resurrected, then it's kind of like the end of times. So they're all trying to work together, but of course different kingdoms hate each other. So a lot of different kingdoms, a lot of characters. And if you would like to listen to this audiobook, I would recommend it, but I would also say do a tandem read. So I did a tandem read by listening to the audiobook and reading the book, and that was so helpful for me. I think that's probably why I finished it so fast. Otherwise, I would have probably been a little bit lost. Yeah, but those are all the books I read in the month of January. It was a solid month, I would say. I really don't know what I'm going to be reading in February. I have a lot of arcs, so that will kind of be my priority, is just making sure I read all of my arcs that will be coming in my inbox soon. But besides that, I don't really have a game plan for February. I feel like with me trying to avoid a reading slump, I'm just going to read whatever I'm in the mood for. Hopefully it's something in my physical TBR, so I can keep getting these numbers down. I'm currently at 300. That is a lot of books. I think it might be a little bit more than that. I just bought some new books. My current physical TBR is at 362 books. Oh my goodness, I have problems. I just had like 3 recent book hauls. Am I the problem? I'm probably the problem. Thank you so much for supporting my channel and watching this video. I hope that February is good to the both of us and the rest of 2025. Bye for now.